Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 8, the season finale of season 2. I am so excited to share my thoughts on the season, what conversation impacted me the most. But thank you so much for joining us for season 2. Let's get started. I'm sitting waiting and I'm wishing on a star. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to One More Thing with Ash. You are on the final episode of season 2. I really can't believe we're already here. This is our last episode of season 2, episode 8, which now makes it 14 episodes of One More Thing. If you have joined us since the beginning of season 1 or joined us at season 2 at some point, I want to welcome you back. I want to share my deepest gratitude to all of you, allowing me to be where you're listening to this and just be in your space. This space is really, I've said it throughout this whole time. This space is for you to be and to heal while having one honest conversation at a time. And I really do believe we've been doing that. This season has been such a whirlwind. The last episode we talked about death, the traumatizer, and how it has shaped who I am. And you've met Caitlin. You've met some wonderful, wonderful human beings. They are friends of mine. You've seen just who these folks are, their stories, what they shared, and what has shaped them to be who they are. I really have learned a lot about my friends by having them on One More Thing, more than I thought I did. And I'm actually just really grateful for that, to be honest with you. Um, this season has meant so much to me. I know that trauma can be really, I don't want to say, uh, it's been a really dense topic, and it's been a really serious topic, but um, you've seen throughout season 2, we found some humor through it. I think one of the things that's gotten me through all of my traumas is just a little humor and learning to laugh about it and just find some laughter in those dark times. I know with my brother's passing, I've found those times to laugh, to remember the good times. But we've really have had some outstanding guests from Lord Isaac to Caesar to Nico to Caitlin, um, and even down to my one of my best friends Lorenzo to Johnny. We've really had a superb group of folks come on the podcast and give their stories, get tell and be a little bit vulnerable. I am grateful that they took the time to be here, and like I said, just be vulnerable and give us everything from the part of trauma that we were discussing and even more. Um, I just want to give my thanks to my guests. But this season we delved into childhood trauma from the beginning. We talked with Lorenzo about generational trauma. We've, gosh, I writing this season was such it took me a little bit because I really cried through most of writing these episodes, and in the hopes that our guests would just be able to be open and obviously then share as much as they would like to share, and we got that. I really hope that you all connected with one of my guests or myself this season, and it really just shook me up a little bit, and we all can get through trauma. We really can. We've asked some deep, deep questions. I think the question that um, really hit me the most and made me cry is during the childhood episode with Caesar. I said, what if your 5-year-old self, 13-year-old self walked through the door? What would you say to them? What would you say to them? Um, that is still a really, I answered it, but it's still a difficult question because I think about the little boy that didn't know he was gay and didn't know of the live situations that he would have to deal with and go through. And how could I tell that little boy that your brother is going to pass at a young age? He wouldn't believe it. I still don't believe it. That little boy would be like, "What is it? What is gay?" Like, I can tell you, my 13 year old self didn't know anything about it. I just knew I liked guys, and I liked Barbies. Hey, I don't know if that was a sign, but I always liked playing with Barbies, so my cousins can vouch. Um, but looking back at the season, I think the conversation that impacted me um, the most. I thought about this and which conversation impacted me the most and why. It's hard because all the conversations that we've had all season have been eye opening. I got to know my friends a lot more. Um, but if I really think about what episode impacted me the most, gosh, um, I'd have to say the conversation I had with Johnny, being our trauma and being queer episode, our queer trauma episode. I, we both come from different sides of the queer spectrum, coming just from the gay side, and then on Johnny's end, coming from the trans side. Um, it's was eye opening to hear someone else's story and how they became who they are today and where I come from and how lucky I was to am lucky to have two supportive parents and supportive family members. I think it impacted me the most because I learned more about my community, the LGBTQ plus queer community, a lot more, and what we need to do more of. Other episodes, obviously, we were able to share experiences and relate. With Nico, it was relationships. With Lorenzo, it was generational trauma. I learned a lot about my friend's childhood a lot more and learned about relationships, etc. But I feel like Johnny's conversation really hit me a lot just because it I am just so I've learned so much about other parts of the community just living in this beautiful city of Los Angeles and in the city of West Hollywood, meeting not just gay folks but just trans folks to de- demisexual folks, asexual, everybody on the spectrum, and learned a lot more of like what conversations we need to be having. One more thing, yes, it's a space to be and to heal, and we're having one honest conversation at a time. But here, one more thing, we're gonna have those deep conversations. We're going to um, talk about in as much as we can in a respectful way, in much detail as possible, have those tough conversations, being able to be open and that it's and share and not being and being okay with hearing about some really dark things. We've heard some really dark things that have happened to some of my guests in their lives. Um, some things I didn't even expect, and those have really impacted me. I think in the last episode, Caitlin talked about her foster brother's passing. When she said that, like, I just was holding back my tears because as traumatic as that is and how elevated it was for her and how public it was, like I can't imagine going through something like that, and especially when you're trying to mourn the death of somebody. Um, but that's the conversations we need to have. And going back to Johnny's episode, like, we need to have those tough conversations in order to move our community forward and to move the world around it. We live in such a dark place in this world. We're in a weird period in our human history, but the human connection is so important. How we connect to one another, and we learn through our trauma. Right now, we're going through a traumatizing time, um, and the only way we get through it is together. Having those conversations, being there with each other, being for this moment, living and just being present for yourself. That's how we're going to get through this traumatizing time. Um, what I've learned about myself through these conversations is that I'm still healing. I'm still healing. I'm still working through my traumas. I'm getting better at coping and healing from it. I don't think the traumas ever go away, but you learn to cope with it and live with it and be better than the better than you were yesterday. And I've been saying it through the whole season, day by day, little by little. You will get there, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not perfect. I really am not perfect at all. But I strive to better myself day by day, um, impacting my friends as much as possible and being there and being a kind person and being there for one another, um, and being the best version of myself. I think that's how we progress and heal from our traumas. Um, but I think, like I said, I learned what I learned about myself is that, like I mentioned a couple seconds ago, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, and it's gonna take day by day. It's going to be week by week. But at the end of the day, um, I've learned that I just have myself. Yes, I have the support of my friends and my family. But at the end of the day, the only person that can move me forward is myself. Um, and I think I've done that. The last 7 months of my life have been the hardest, um, ever. I've dealt with a lot of traumatizing stuff personally in relationships and physical, mental, spiritual abuse, from past relationships, but friends and romantically. But losing my brother has been the hardest thing I've had to deal with ever. Um, I am writing Death the Traumatizer episode was. I knew Caitlin was going to be there and we were able to have the conversation, but it was the hardest episode to write. I do think about death all the time, but also I think, can you untraumatize yourself from death? We talked about that in the last episode. I don't think you ever can. I think it's a lot different. Um, when I was a kid, I was able to see my grandparents at their viewing and see their casket and stuff like that. I've seen, um, the person in the casket before, but seeing my brother in a casket was a whole different ball game. Um, that was my baby brother. Um, I stood by his casket even when they were lowering him into to bury him. I just stood by him and I just couldn't leave him. Every time I'm able to go back to my hometown, I always make it a chance to sit and have lunch with him and talk and hang out. Um, but when I'm not in Monterey, like, I do take those times to talk to him, go for a walk, and be with my friends. It has been a real adjustment. It's been traumatizing in that Um, that it's just, I don't know, it's been really traumatizing for me. So I'm learning to live with it, but it's really has been the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. And that says a lot about me. I've dealt with a lot of hard things. But when you lose a sibling, someone that's knows your childhood more than you do, and has experienced a lot of the things that we went on. We went on trips together. We did sports together. We went to the same schools together up until high school. We did a lot of things together. And we got to be adults. And let me tell you, we respected each other as adults. We didn't agree on everything. But at the end of the day, we knew we loved each other. And then having a difference of opinion was great. I think that's one thing that he and I probably loved about our relationship, that we were able to have the tough conversations and still love each other. Excuse me. At the end of the day, um, what I would say to someone who is still in the middle of their trauma and can't see the end of it or the light at the end of the tunnel, that I would say to you, you can get through it. You can get through it. There is nothing that you can't do. I say that at the end of every episode. I believe in you and your ability to get through any situation you're able to get through. It whether it's traumatized whether you're traumatized by something that happened to you, you can get through it. Take a moment, take a breather, take a step back. What I've learned through just my healing journey is that I tend to not react to things so quickly that are traumatizing or they're dramatic. I just don't respond to them anymore. I take a step back, take a deep breath, and then I approach the situation. Um, then we go from there. I don't do that anymore. I just take a deep breath. You can do it. You can do it. If you're in the middle of something and you're through this event right now, you can get through it. I promise you. And if you need somebody to talk to, um, comment below. Email is in our Instagram and our in our TikTok. Email us, and I will respond. I promise to you. And try to take some of the questions and conversations that I've had with our guests to heart. Ask yourselves those questions. I don't ask these questions and have these discussions with my guests if I couldn't answer the question myself, and if they didn't mean something and and brought a truth out of you that you didn't know. Sometimes when you have these conversations, the truths do come out. These truths do come out. So, um, have those hard conversations with yourself. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Sing in the shower. Talk to a friend. Talk to a roommate. Talk to your parents. Talk to whoever. But you can get through it. And I know you have that. And like Caitlin mentioned in the last episode, even if you just have one friend, and that leads to a trail of. I know for me, especially in LA, like my friend group started. Obviously, I had Tracy and everything, but in terms of like creating a group of friends in LA, like it started off with one friend like Danny. Then I moved off to Lorenzo, et cetera, because I was able to insert myself into places that I usually wouldn't go into and wanted to experience new things. So I would say insert yourself into situations and events that you'll meet people that have the same interests as you. And when that traumatic thing happens and you're in the middle of it, they're able to catch you where you fall. It takes time. I'm lucky enough to have my tribe of folks, and I'm able to get through things. They're still hard to get through, but I'm able to fall on somebody and cry on their shoulder or scream when I need to. One truth about healing I want you all to leave with is that we all have trauma. We all do. You know, even I talked about it in the beginning of the season, but we all have trauma. It could happen from a car accident. You're traumatized by loud sounds, or you're traumatized from being abused as a kid, or an event that happened, or a death, or a relationship. We all have trauma. Well, it could be from work. It could literally be from anything. But the one truth here is that everybody has trauma, and we can all get through it. Um, as long as you believe in yourself. I believe in you. I know you can do it. Um, you know, I thought it would be important to end the season like we ended season one. Um, and the title of this episode is Can You Heal from Trauma? And I think the answer is yes. You can heal from trauma. You just have to be able, like I keep saying, is put the work out there. You can do it. Reach out to the people that you need to. If you're not ready, that's totally fine. But don't keep yourself locked in a room every single day or all the time, because the world does not stop because you're deciding to close your door on everybody. Your world changes. What I've learned, the world changes if you better yourself and take care of yourself. For me, there's, like I said, there's days I just don't want to get out of bed. I push myself to get out of bed. I use that 5 4 3 2 1 trick that Mel Robbins has taught. Thank you, Mel. Um, and I make the effort to go to the gym even when I don't feel like it. When you don't feel like it, just do it, because you're just telling the little voice in your head is telling you not to do it. But you can heal from trauma. You just have to make the necessary steps, small steps, big steps, baby steps, in order to heal from that situation. And you can do it. It's a slow process, it's an ugly process, it could be a beautiful process. But in the end, as long as you're working on yourself, the world keeps moving and you will keep moving. And as long as you keep bettering yourself and taking it day by day, trust me, you can heal from trauma. This season has been great. I am, again, very thrilled that 6 of my friends were able to come on and share their experiences. We are going to take a little break from One More Thing. I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful summer. But season 3 is all about relationships. So if you thought that we were going deep, we're going a lot deeper. Um, and I am so excited to have you guys join us in season 3. But for now, I hope that you have taken some lessons, and hopefully the stories that my friends have told and the guests have told have hit you in some way and help taught you something about yourself. Maybe you're having that hard conversation with yourself right now or with a friend right now. Great. I'm glad we were able to spark that in you. You have it. You have everything you need. You have the tools that you need. You just got to be able to have that friend to call you out on your stuff or tell you how it is, or have someone that's going to tell you the hard truths. So, but I want to thank you all for joining us for season 2 of Trauma. It has been quite the journey. And like I said, we're gearing up for season 3 in a few months, in 2 or 3 months or so. And I will see you there. But for now, if I can add one more thing, if anybody hasn't told you today or recently, I love you. I believe in you, and you can do anything you set your beautiful mind to. And you know what? You're absolutely beautiful. Just remember that. You are so beautiful, and you have so much to contribute to the world. Um, I want to thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, share this episode to someone that may want it. As we expand this safe space together, I will see you next time on One More Thing. I love you guys. Bye.